come into this map potentially no longer the favorites. We'll see what happens as Kafe is map number 3. Let's get underway with the ban phase. Oxygen starting on defense. MIBR on attack. Before we get in, Kafe is one of the most favorable maps to the attackers at the moment, with a 60% win rate for attackers, 40% win rate for defenders. Will that hold true? We've bucked the numbers through most of this matchup, and these teams have bucked conventional bans as well.
Yeah, you spoke of Alamau. He also lost to MIBR on this exact map, where MIBR took the victory 7-5. So he would know what it's like to lose by the hand of MIBR on the map. And OXG, we'll have to find out if they can make a difference there. Bans are coming out, as you said. We got Nomad and Womai off the board for MIBR, with Thatcher and Blank so far for OXG. We'll have to decide, and they do so with 14 seconds left. The timer jumps to 5, and it shows Mira. So, just like on Oregon, we'll have the Valkyrie open and available to us, but unlike Oregon, the Nomad is off the board, which means you're not going to be as safe and sound as you might think on those flanks. That's especially going to affect the basement bomb site, if anything, because there are 3 staircases leading from basement and up to the first floor. There are only 2 staircases going from first floor up to second floor, and that's something... You know what? I just butchered it. I called it basement again. I'm sorry. I'm
gonna keep catching you on this.
Basement is
I'm gonna
first
keep
floor.
catching you on this, and I'm gonna keep
first floor, second floor, and second floor is third. There are 3 floors on this map, and I will try my very hardest to learn that fact, because as a player in G2 and Penta, we called that very differently. We see a Tashanka 6-pick onto Valkyrie from Foxy, so very comfort pick for him. He played that same role on Oregon. Not to the greatest success, but he was giving it his best try. We see a very standard operator lineup from MIBR, but the one thing that stands out is Ashe. I don't think Ashe is a very picked operator these days. In fact, I know she's not a very picked operator these days. Sophia tends to get more pick, if anything, because she has the stuns, and she has the 2 soft breaches, and of course she has the LMG. That type of weapon is very used at this tournament. Whereas the Ashe, you got the G36C, you got the R4, and then you have just the 2 Ashe breaches, or the Ashe charges, if you will. She does no longer have flashbangs. She has no projectiles to clear ADSs for herself, and that's one of the biggest reasons why she isn't played a ton in more recent times.
Oh God, have we even seen an Ashe so far? Have we in this entire series? When was the last time we saw an Ashe, you and I?
We've seen it once before.
I mean, it's been a while, though.
It's been
quite a while since we saw an Ashe as active as could be, but... Well, I mean, like you pointed out, utility tends to be the most important thing. At one point, Ashe had 3 charges. She only has 2 now, so...
And she had flashbangs.
Yeah, those breaching rounds that she had access to and flashbangs allowed her to clear things out. But with the changes to the flashbangs and the changes as well, they don't give her that ability. Nice read here from Foxy. Unsure if there's a Valkyrie camera up top or if he just played off of time. But Oxygen give themselves a little bit of space as they pick off the very first player on the very first round.
Yeah, there's a trick you can do with those hatches if people are using their breaching charges. Once you hear the sound, you can pop the C4, blow it, but this was a sledge, so Foxy either playing the time or again, just kind of playing the sound. As you hear those footsteps approach, you toss the C4, you blow it up, but it's a direct attack from MIBR. They're inside Bakery, that's all they have, and with sledge being gone, that means verticality is not going to be much of an option, and even then, I mean, you have the Retera Jones, but that's the absolute best you can do.
Absolutely. So, a little bit of a pause now. Foxy still has not been moved off of this spot. He's inside a train. He'll play through the openings that have been created. Teams tend to get bogged down when taking kitchen, as they'll want to focus on that kitchen wall and sometimes do not have the time or the ability to reposition themselves onto that middle floor. If you can't do that and the defenders have an opening down to the kitchen wall, then that defender becomes the best thing for your team, and it's very easy to pick up 1 or 2 kills. Now, we know Foxy is still playing up there, but there's also Rayduct entering on that top floor. So you've got a player from MIBR who's going to clear off site. That means that there are 3 players from MIBR who are going to try to take this. And actually, just as I say that, it doesn't look like Rayduct took the second floor one bit. He's actually going for the back of the bomb site. He gets the kill on the vertical, and another lined up by Whiskey Door, but that's good enough for one. As he heads back upstairs, Foxe might be able to hear this and capitalize off of it. Yaga and Laxing in as well, as almost all of the guns from OXG are proving to be quite successful. A game of cat and mouse now looking through the fireplace, and okay, that is one hell of a start for OXG. A lot of the action occurring off screen, but there is very little fight from MIBR as OXG takes the first round.
Yeah. Basically what happened, as we can assume, is that the 3 players inside of Bakery from MIBR seemingly just fell. Oh, we see it here, the timing. So Sledge, he opened up the red hatch, and as he moved towards the new hatch, Foxe calculated the movement speed through the C4 and popped it at the exact right moment. Had Sledge opened up the hatch, the C4 drops to the ground and misses. And he blown it too early, well, the hatch gets opened and Sledge doesn't die. So Foxe, 200 IQ, Valkyrie, one-trick main, Pony Boy, all that stuff is amazing at the game.
How many names do you have for this man?
I mean, he's a beauty of a person, isn't he? He's up.
I pass no judgment.
He's been passing some weird videos on Twitter sometimes. There was the whole the spit situation. Let's not get into it, but Foxe is an interesting character, is all I say. He has the anime hair as well. He's like blonde nowadays. He's been rocking that style for I think 2 years or so now. Looks good on him. Fits him. Of course, we said earlier, him and Laxing, they go back all the way to the beginning. They've been playing together on so many rosters, Elevate, Reciprocity, OXG. I actually used to gatekeep them because we would always beat them in like quarters, beat them in the grand finals, basically stopping them from getting trophies. So if you look up Laxing or Foxe, you might see they haven't won the most amount of tournaments, but at the same time, they were usually up against one of the best teams, if not the best team in the world of G2/Penta, and we stopped them in their tracks for so long. I almost feel bad, but I also wouldn't surrender my trophies, so at the same time, yeah, get screwed. I'm sorry.
That's what we like to hear, isn't it? Anyway, very first round on defense goes in favor of Oxygen. With the win rate coming in being what it is, if OXG can at least get 3 rounds, then they are in excellent shape. If they get 2 rounds, then they're about where you expect a defensive team to be after 1/2 on Kafe. If you didn't tune into the preamble, I will repeat what the stats are. 60% in favor of the attackers, 40% in favor of the defense. That is quite a gap. A yawning chasm, some could even say.
Absolutely. And we'll see what happens, because ultimately what matters is, well, how do you play the map? And how do these 2 specific teams end up in the direct matchup? Because some teams are just naturally better at one side over the other, and how those exact play styles kind of mesh together will also have a big impact. For example, Vertical, stuck inside Piano, cannot really move as long as Falls is on this window repel, but he doesn't care. He gets a kill, actually goes for the jump, but it looks like, but Falls trades it back. Vertical said, you know what, I'll get the 1 kill, I'll try and get the second, and even if I fail, I'll be okay with that, because Luke gets off the board. That's a bit of soft utility, but when you have 4 grenades from the side of MIBR like we usually do with these operator lineups, it's not going to play a huge effect. Flores, again, being brought by Redoc, he played on Oregon. They're gonna have so much explosive economy to really tear through this round. That's really good, because once you...
Hold on a second. Fellapox is going on to repel behind this Goyo, Nick, and they have shaken him off of this position, and the rush is in from MIBR just like that. Once Fellapox got into position, they took full control of White. It's pushed all of Oxygen off, and Laxing, he gets obscured by the scope, and he can't see Rayduct on the top of Red. Yaga from down below, no Nitro Cell. This is a middle floor defense, over by Reading. So you don't need to have full control of Cocktail, but you have to be very careful. The Electroclaw is down below. This is getting in the way, and MIBR will start smashing away, nade in hand.
Tosses out, it lands, but Foxe also finds the likes of Falls, and so does Yaga. They find 1 each, but Philippox with that Adrenal Surge will make sure that Raps will stay healthy. About equal health as both Philippox and Yaga are full, and Raps and Foxe are quite low, but not low enough. They're still standing, they are not injured, and oh my boy, now Raps 1 health, but Foxe is so good so far this game, even gets the deep headshot. Foxe absolutely popping off right now, and he is screaming towards MIBR.
Well, he is he's very excited. You said he had anime hair.
Yeah, like that like
Super
dyed hair.
Saiyan, almost.
Super Saiyan. And he put wax in it, so it was kind of like spiky. That looked great. Or not. Laxing had a nice ratting there in the corner. Got shut down. Didn't work out. Good nade from Rabs, but fuck's sake, look at this. Pow! Ow, I don't see the deagle. That was the best one.
It was a nice shot by him, and it was honestly, the top floor hold seemed nice and strategically sound. There was that first early action you talked about. It got traded out, and then immediately MIBR know that they want to go for the top floor. It is unheard of for teams to try and take reading from the bottom floor. Yes, you might have one player go up brown stairs, but that's about it. Outside of that, you want to take from the top floor down, and especially if you've got a buck or a sledge on the board, sometimes an Ashe, sometimes a Zofia in a pinch, you want to play in cocktail. Tear away the floor. The defenders are going to be playing down by that overturned bookshelf with their backs to the wall and a rotate inside of laundry or over by the upright bookshelf where the diffuser tends to get planted. Well, if you can hold cocktail as an attacker, the defenders can't really play in those two spots. You only have one option. Swing. Swing or be swung, which is the name of the game for those defenders, or you just forfeit control of the bomb site, in which case, then you want to try and go back into Fireplace, back into Train, and fight for a retake with maybe somebody going upstairs. That's where an operator like Nomad comes in so critically. But MIBR and Attack have banned the Nomad, so they don't have to worry about it. When they go onto defense and on attack, they can work around it.
What's also unheard of is going from reading bomb site into mining bomb site. OXG yet to play the top floor. That's normally an extremely common choice for the defenders. And also, worth noting out, Lukid has now picked up the IQ, respecting the Valkyrie from Foxy, but hey, it's not Foxy who plays as operator right now, it's Vertical. So again, OXG showing that they can be flexible, changing things around. We see right now Luki trying to map out where are the black eye cameras, where are the mute jammers, and what does the bomb site on the map look like. Foxy with C4 in hand below the skylight could either be taken down because IQ scanner is out in action, or he will find a drone for free. Make that a second as Lukid drives his onto his track as well. And that is 4 drones off the board from MIBR. That means that OXG will have more to work with as MIBR has less information. Foxy drops down, doesn't want any of the gunplay. They're gonna play it safe, play it slow. They got so much map to work with. Remember, it's not a reading bomb site defense, it's not a top floor defense. We are inside of mining. The longer you can stall, the more drones you can kill, the more map you can just kind of surrender as time goes on, the better off you are. You also have 3 C4s, one on Jog, one on Vert, one on Foxy. That means, vertically speaking, you can do a lot of damage. No, not the player vertical, vertically. Give me the word.
Verticality.
Vertically?
Vertically
do damage.
as well. You can do damage vertically, yes.
Damn.
That's okay.
That was a good joke too, and I missed it.
Nade tossed in, and it looks like it gets the Electric Claw that was positioned inside of Train. That means the hatch upstairs in Piano is a little bit more vulnerable and prime for the taking on MIBR. All the while, they've used 2 minutes to clear out the top floor. As you said, odd that OXG did not include Cocktail on the top floor amidst their arsenal, but instead, their portfolio of bomb sites. Looking mighty robust as OXG getting the lead-off pick in 2 rounds, traded on the second, and also holding on successfully as a defender. The Nitro cells from OXG have been used so far, have not been to great success themselves. Both Foxy and Yaga have gone fishing. They've landed absolutely nothing. Vertical still has one at his disposal, too. Adrenal Surge comes in. That's usually the telltale sign that something's about to happen, and with 30 seconds left, there's a reasonable assumption that MIBR want to get the execute off. But they've had struggles in the past with these executes. They need to find their footing and they need to find it fast. They've isolated inside of Fireplace. Down goes Lukid. Foxy still showing that he's quite proficient and is making this match his own, up 5-0. 10 seconds left and there's 9 players still alive. Make that 8. Rayduct is down. Down below, Vertical still has access to the Nitro cell. MIBR are defeating themselves, but all of a sudden Raps finds 2 kills, falls on the diffuser. Nitro cell goes, it's in the wrong way. Damage to the foot, he can't get it done as it's all MIBR all over the place. Foxy drops in a 1v2, diffuser within reach, but he has to hop over. Where are the players from MIBR? Sitting on it, he gets the call. Raps looking the wrong way. Raps, you have to run in, there it is. OXG had everything going for them, but then they missed some crucial altercations. And MIBR win the gunfights, clear out the bomb site, poor calls for the Valkyrie down below, and OXG is left waiting while MIBR waltzes in and takes the round.
it seemed like the win condition for OXG was vertical down below, but I don't think the Valkyrie camera actually saw the dining bomb site. They're expecting the opposing team of MIBR to plant inside of mining, so when they pushed deep and took the entirety of site control, it was a blind C4 that missed. I'm gonna be honest, it wasn't even close. It really badly missed, but afterwards, he got a pretty good floor bang, so perhaps they did have information after all. We don't know for sure. Timeout gets called, and we'll now have time to talk about what to do next. MIBR, despite winning the round, chooses to go for a tactical timeout because they want more rounds. That's a very nice thing to think about because who doesn't want more rounds? So, 2-1 scoreline, OXG in favor. It is MIBR on the attack. We see here all 3 rounds came down to kills, but on that very last round, of course, Diffuser was planted. Otherwise, timeout would have hit 0, and OXG would have been 3 for nothing.
Well, MIBR taking this time out to try and settle them down. They know that Kafe is a favorable map on their end, and this was the assumption that was said on Twitter as well. I don't want to reference Ali Mao again because he's not in the casting booth. Though, Carl, if you'd like to. Carl, if you want to come join us, come feel free to do that. While we're on the tactical pause, I'd like to give you a brief update as to what is occurring on our other stream, Deafen, for the remainder of the prep phase. We got 10 seconds left. Let me tell you right now exactly what's going on. It's overtime on map 2, Damwon Kia versus Na'Vi.
That's crazy.
There you go. And that's all we're going to discuss. If you want to see it yourself, twitch.tv/Rainbow6Bravo, so you can go over there and get a good look. Because that matchup doesn't matter for Damwon Kia at all. They are going to finish in first, no matter what happens. But for Na'Vi, that's a particularly crucial matchup because MIBR have picked up a point. They're now tied with Na'Vi, as well as tied with Team 1, but tied with Na'Vi. And OXG, by picking up 1 point by winning map number 1, have guaranteed themselves at least a top 4 finish. We don't know where they're going to be at the end of the day. Really depends on the other match. So we'll keep an eye on that, as you should as well.
Yep. If you're a Na'Vi fan, you want them to get at least 1 map on the board. And if you're not a Na'Vi fan, well, honestly, it's kind of fun having like 2 different teams or 3 different teams on 4 points because there might be this whole like mini competition or mini tournament. So we'll see exactly what happens as we go through the day and once results they come in. For now, we honestly don't know for sure. All we know is OXG are safe to go through, but they're of course going to be in that lower part of the group because, well, actually, they might not. Depending on this match, what happens, they might actually find themselves in that higher end seed, but we'll see exactly once the results come in. MIBR, they can still win it. They can still get 2 points instead of just the 1. Ultimately, it'll matter a lot. They'll want to get as many as possible because nobody wants to be the one going home.
I don't know. I mean, you ever come to this event and think, you know what?
I want to go back to my home place.
I had a fun 5 days. I've eaten enough meatballs.
I feel like Elevate.
It's time to go home.
If one team would be that way, Elevate would feel it. They're like, you know, we're happy we got here, we got experience, we even got a win, we can go home now. But besides that.
Well, I spoke to Onigiri during those player interviews, and one of the things that he said was, you know, our expectations are to come, learn how to play against other teams, get heaps of international experience, maybe get some scrims in, which, by the way, shame on the teams that refuse to scrim Elevate. Onigiri in the same interview said that there were a lot of teams that just point blank refused to scrim them, so they had to play EU ranked. Now, I understand that EU ranked is competitive, but you really got to play against them. Anyway, Onigiri basically said our focus is to come in, gain as much experience, take it back to APAC and see what we can do with it and hopefully come back to another event. And I mean, the thing is that Elevate are not in a position where they're going home. As far as I'm aware, that group is not solved yet. So Elevate could still very much go forward. I have to pull up. I'm not keeping track of them. Oh, they have actually made it. Elevate have made it because BDS went home.
Oh, yeah. See, that's still weird to me when I think about it. It seems absolutely unreal. Kino has to become unreal once again because he's inside of VIP and he has not much going for him. No support from his teammates. Nate has been tossed out. He's already low in health. Second one follows, but Kino, he's moved to the hallway. He'll try and see if he can get an angle onto this prone player of MIBR, but again, we're just standing still, waiting, listening, trying to see where is the opposing player. Nobody will know. Nobody's droning from MIBR. They only have 4 drones left. 1 is out of pocket. Philippox as well, holding the cross. They really think Kino is still inside of VIP. Maybe they think he's injured from that grenade, waiting for him to bleed out, but they don't want to take the risk.
And it's honestly not a bad assessment to make because Kino is low, but not fully dead yet. This is, again, an issue that MIBR have. Their drone work and coordination has not been spectacular over this
still
this
waiting.
event. And look at that. Continuing onwards. But there's 9 people alive in the final 15 seconds of the previous round. Well, we've got 8 right now with 15 seconds to go. First 2 kills go to MIBR. Foxay still from above. They've not cleared him out. Nitro Cell goes. Almost a flawless round for MIBR. Fellapox puzzlingly breaks into the bomb site. Foxay nowhere near where the diffuser's being planted. He has to drop, giving his position away, and there it is. Flawlessly done by MIBR. There was 17 seconds left and everybody was still alive. Then there was 2 seconds left and all of Oxygen was dead. The timeout seemingly paying off for MIBR. They've tied the game up 2 apiece.
That is just such a weird round. It looks like it was going to go one way. It completely went the other. When they spend so much time trying to find Kino inside a VIP or in that wide hallway, I thought, this is silly. At least toss in a drone. Get in there super quickly. Time is literally slipping away and you need to approach the bomb site. Sure, 4 versus 5, you got a man advantage, but you also have no information of the whereabouts of the defenders of OXG. You're walking into a crossfire. But honestly, they didn't care. They got kill after kill after kill after kill, just walking to the bomb site almost as if Oxygen were asleep at the wheel thinking, hey, these guys aren't making any moves. They went to bed, so we're gonna take a nap as well. But that's never the case in these rounds. No one is going to nap. Everybody here wants to win every single round, and they're fighting tooth and nail for it.
Well, that's a glow up from MIBR, and
very big glow up.
When you take a timeout like that, you hope that it immediately pays off, but there's also another point where it might enact a new strategy or might bring out a new strategy that you don't immediately start winning off of, but it takes you some time till you're in a position where you can then win off of it. What these 2 last rounds really showed me was that when things get real scrappy, MIBR do have a bit more structure and are extremely good in the cut and thrust of the round. Yeah. Because they read into OXG in round 3, they did the same in round number 4, and it was significantly closer, obviously, in round 3. But MIBR are taking time, and they're at least understanding where Oxygen is, and then pouncing on it.
Yeah, I mean, they had a good read on Kino, but it's just like, I really fear walking in through side. How are you going to make that work? How can you comfortably do it? It seems almost ridiculous to assume that OXG just, or MIBR, sorry, just like knew what to do, because when you don't have information, the only thing you can do is stick to your guns. But, I mean, it is a Latin team, MIBR. They can really do some damage with the gun precision. Foxay back on the Valkyrie, just like it was in the previous round. They haven't really gotten as much value out of it as they would like to, but then you gotta remember, Lukid is bringing the IQ multiple rounds now. He wants to count, or the IQ, he wants to counter the Valkyrie. Make sure that Oxygen don't have too much information.
Well, we'll see how fast MIBR can be to the punch here, because this was 2 rounds in a row where in the final 15 seconds they pulled something off, and it took them an awful long time. Now, there's a minute 45 left and the first kill has already happened. Fellapox is the one to do it. He's heating up. I think all 4 of his kills have come, all 5 of his kills, sorry, as he tosses in a grenade and kills up Yaga, has been over the last 3 minutes. And now another triple kill. Fellapox has ascended to a new level. Rayduct with the F2 in hand, guns down Laxing. Foxay, who was strong in the early moments of Kafe, now has more work to be done as he's 6-2 down below. Another flawless round on the table for MIBR, and it'll happen. Manifesting a flawless round. Round 4 is flawless, round 5 is flawless, and MIBR with their 3 rounds in a row now take the lead here on Kafe.
Pretty much perfect play 3 rounds in a row on mining. They flooded the bomb site, they evaded the Valkyrie, they got the bomb down, they won the round very close. Then you go to basement attack. Flawless round and opening kill. You win it, it's easy. Sure, time was very low, but it was flawless nonetheless. Then you go to reading afterwards. Another flawless round and opening kill. OXG, it's gonna feel like they're doing everything right, but everything is going oh so wrong, and they're refusing to go top floor because they've gone basement, reading, mining, basement, reading, not mining, kitchen. They're going back downstairs. It didn't look too good for them last time. They will have to change something up, especially the way that MIBR is playing right now. Reduct on the Twitch can clear utility. Lukid sticking his guts on the IQ each and every single round. They are respecting the information game from OXG, and I like it, because the one way you can lose is that verticality with the black eye cameras being alive. So if you can find them with the IQ scanner, then use the Twitch drone. You can clear them out quite easily and quite quickly.
Absolutely. Fateful round now for OXG. Again, we want to remind you that Kafe does skew towards the attackers at the present moment. The 6 Invitational, it has been and become the most attacker-friendly map with a 60% win rate each round for the attackers. MIBR have done at least half of that. They're at 3 rounds, they have 1 more round, and now they win the half, which is where you want to be. MIBR also gambled by taking their time out at the conclusion of round number 3, and they netted 2 flawless rounds after that. So, perfectly timed on their end. They call a timeout, you get 2 flawless rounds back to back. I'd say that's pretty worthwhile and really well timed. It really is ridiculous.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
It is.
What's this?
Maybe they're shaping up for more. Fellapox has gotten all 7 kills in the last 3 rounds, and what a start it is. Usually, Fox A is the last one alive for his team, but that's not the case anymore. He picked up 5 kills in the first 2 rounds. Now Vertical is down as well. MIBR are beating the ever-living stuffing out of Oxygen, and there's still 2 minutes and 15 seconds to go.
Maybe Alan was right. You know, maybe he actually knows what he's talking about as a current Pro League player, because MIBR is looking mighty scary on these attacking rounds. They are having so much impact in the early round. The only area they've been slightly weak is in the very late game, where they slow down, they take their time, but it's worked so far. They haven't lost a round due to time management. It's just been close.
Well, they're finding those black eye cams and shooting them. The sound difference, by the way, with a black eye cam getting shot is different from a regular cam, for those that don't know, and that's why Lukid is running on this IQ. He's able to give intel to the rest of his team. Found an Electroclaw, found the Valkyrie camera as well. The rest of OXG will brace for impact with 90 seconds left in the round, and at the moment, a perfectly healthy MIBR team with plenty of utility. They've still got smokes on the board. They've still got nades. They still have flashbangs as well. And some good weaponry, but Laxing swings. A flawless round for 3 rounds in a row. No thank you, they say. Still, an advantage in favor of MIBR despite Laxing's position.
Yep. Only thing OXG really got here is Bakery, and they're holding on to it, sticking their ground, staying inside of it. Laxing, you have to come out really on top here, because you need a win somewhere on the map. You got Yogg inside of Code, and the last player from OXG is Kino. He's on that VIP side. Every single member is isolated. No one is helping one another, but maybe they don't need to. Kino find Philippox, phenomenal player off the board of MIBR. Now tied back 3 versus 3 as Laxing is getting close to his teammates once again.
Inside a small bakery with Yogg not too far off. They've mostly vacated the bomb site. MIBR has control. It'll be a post plant with Yogg creeping in, but he's given himself away. You see some of that soft wall go up, and the IQ barrels in, gunned down by Yogg at his hands. It's a merciless position from OXG, who suddenly are hitting all their shots. Rayduct is the only player from MIBR still up. He's got an F2 in hand, and now he's overhealed, but slowly but surely the rest of it will tick away. OXG stick the landing on the final round. They deny MIBR a winning first half. 3-3 is the scoreline, and we will now swap sides.
Tied up. That's as close as it can get. Oh, and this basically means that MIBR, well, you gotta do the same thing, if not better. If you do another tie 3-3, we're going OT. Whoever can come out on top will take it in regulation. We'll see if OXG can bring out that same kind of power, the same aggression and confidence that MIBR showed, because that's exactly what they'll need. OXG has to overcome an obstacle, a Latam team with Valkyrie open, and they're not showing the IQ in this first round. They'll be Laxing. 6 picking from Twitch. Back onto Twitch because he changed his mind. Raps will stick the Valkyrie, not just going back to Melusi just yet. He will go all the way through, make sure that they have those black eye cameras at their disposal. Philippox and Reduct will both be playing the Deny, or rather the ADS, projectile catching operators. Aruni and the Jaeger falls on that supportive-ish operator of Maestro. Yes, you have a great gun in the Alda. You got so many bullets, 1 scope at your disposal, but those evil eyes, the Maestro cameras, the bubbles as we call them, are extremely valuable on Kafe. You have this death zone that is Cigar and Piano, an area where players, they can't really play that safely, that comfortably, and you can deny a lot of drone work with those evil eye gadget. You open up the eye, you shoot out some lasers, and you can one-shot all utility and all drones, and even do a bit of damage onto your opponent players.
Well, we have an update for you, by the way.
Oh, do we?
From the other game, yes, that is correct. Spoilers inbound, so plug your ears for about 10 seconds or so. Na'Vi has won map 2, which means that it is going to a third map between them. Na'Vi is the first team to win a map against Damwon Kia and force Damwon Kia to bend at the knee of the UK overlords.
That's impressive.
It is. It absolutely is. So, with that said, we're waiting to hear back from League Ops as to what that means in regards to Team 1 and MIBR, but things are not looking good for Team 1 at the moment. It really does depend on what the League Ops gets back to us with, because there isn't going to be a three-way tie anymore. MIBR picking up the last map means that they get a point. They're now up to 4. They're tied with Team 1, so we'll see. We'll wait, and we'll give you intel, or we'll give you information when we get that intel ourselves.
And that just adds even more pressure on this match of OXG and MIBR, because if MIBR wins, they get another point on the board. And OXG, they will sit on 5 comfortably, but you know, MIBR, they don't want to be going home. They want Team 1 to be that team to be doing that instead. And in the matchup of Team 1, MIBR, it was MIBR winning 2-0. They beat them 7-5 on Villa, 7-5 on Kafe, the map we're watching right now. That means MIBR, they have experience on this map against another LATAM team. And LATAM, they play a really good Kafe. NA, sure, it's been an historic map, but right now Raps is showing why that is not the case. York off the board, that's the sledge gone, 2 grenades, the hammers in the ground. Oh, and we're holding on.
OXG again surrendering that very first pick. MIBR have been clobbering them in regards to these opening bits. Oxygen only has 2 uncontested first picks. That's not great for the fact that we are now 7 rounds deep. And with a minute to go, OXG losing that sledge, losing that set of nades, means that there's only a single nade left in Vertical's pocket, at least from what we can see. And he's on drone work, helping the rest of the team on in. First look at Cocktail as a defense, because OXG did not go there at all. They just went to kitchen reading and mining. An equalizer now from Kino. If he wakes up, OXG's chances go up immensely. He's an even 4-4, and he'll need some more. After all the work that he put on Bank, it must have been a heartbreaking loss. Selma's going off, and some of the defense for MIBR will continuously get chipped away at, leaving the final 30 seconds up to a fantastic showdown in the middle of the bomb site. Kino utility dumping, rating for it, Foxe not too far off. You need to ensure that any type of denial is taken care of. Raydux softened up from the F2 of Laxing. That forces him back into back bar, waiting ever so patiently. Smokes get tossed out. Velopox fires back on the Kino. Laxing bursts in. Vertical knows exactly where he is, but it's a big 2-piece from Falls, and that 2-piece becomes a 3-piece. MIBR on their first defense. They're successful, and they take the lead.
First top 4 defense, first top 4 victory as well. MIBR, they are now in the lead, and that causes perhaps for a timeout. We'll see. Yep, I believe we do. Yep, OXG confirmed timeout. We will be talking about what we can do to stay in this, and I think this is the perfect opportunity and time for this to happen. You've just lost the lead as OXG. You've had it most of this game. Yeah, it was 2-0, then 3-2, then OXG, they clawed back to 3-3. Now they've lost it. Timeout is coming in. We're going to talk about what can we do on this attacking side. We need to do as good as MIBR, 3 rounds or better, as 3 rounds would take you into OT, and better, well, you'll win in regulation, which is even better if you're an OXG boy. Because all the time, we all know it gets stressful. It gets really intense. And oftentimes, we even see like a sway in defender and attacker favoritism, where if you want a ton of defending rounds in regulation, all of a sudden attack becomes the preference in OT, which honestly doesn't make any sense, but statistically, that just seems to be the case somehow.
Well, we also have an update for you while this timeout is going on. And again, spoilers if you've been paying attention to the other groups. It's official, getting word from League Ops just a couple seconds ago that the math now is finalized. Team 1 is the 3rd team to be eliminated from the 6 Invitational. Very surprising to see Team 1 go home. The LATAM team that went on the miracle run through the groups and then upwards and won the Mexico Major. They tweeted before the event that this was the last dance. We can't begin to speculate on what that means, but it sure seems like this is a swan song for the team. Take a bow, Team 1. You're major champions. Whatever happens to you, whatever happens to your roster, whatever the last dance means, thank you for the memories. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. It's been a pleasure to cast you. And it's a bit sour that they don't even get to play today. They were sitting at home, waiting, and the perfect storm happened. MIBR and OXG both winning a map, and Na'Vi winning the other map means Team 1 goes home. They join Sandbox Gaming and Team BDS as the 3 teams that have gone home. The other group that is shaping up to be quite spicy, Nick, that you and I will be casting later, that is still very much up in the air, is Group B. Space Station and Team Liquid have locked in their spots in the top 4, but FaZe Clan, Rogue, or Cyclops, one of those teams will be going home, and yes, all 3 of them are very vulnerable.
That's crazy. We could be losing the Sweden Major in FaZe, Mexico Major in Team 1, as well as BDS, a fan favorite to win the entire tournament invitationals, all in groups. And Sandbox. Isn't that ridiculous of a timeline? Like, my predictions are in the gutter. Everyone's predictions are in the gutter. We'll see what happens. MIBR, of course, I don't believe that they know exactly what happened because they shouldn't have, because they don't have access to cell phones and internet and stuff. You're on LAN, you have admins behind you, so we're still fighting for our lives. And Kino shows up with the 150 on Reduct.
Reduct is fighting for his life as well. Gone from action, gone from play. Kafe shaping up to be as competitive as we saw from Oregon. Nick, with these teams trading back and forth. It's a kitchen defense. This is the first floor. We saw our first look at a cocktail defense from MIBR, and despite the fact that OXG had some opportunities, it was MIBR on a stalwart defense.
Yeah, we saw MIBR, they were slowing down, but they managed to find the round. OXG now, with this opening pick and half the round to go, are looking really good on time. We'll have to start working that verticality, swing the hammer, do the floor some damage. If you can find any angles, any freebies, that's going to make the round even easier for you. But once you've done all the verticality, you need to figure out which side do you go for. There's a front take, there's a back take, there's a C4 from Philipbox, goes out, blows it. It does not go out just yet. We're holding on, waiting for the sledge to get nearby, trying to get the kill, but no! It was indeed Yaga, who went right instead of left, juked out the C4 and stayed on his toes. Well done for him, and that means that OXG can keep doing damage, but they still need to find a way into the bomb site. They have not worked the first floor at all yet. They're still all on second floor, and time is kind of slowly starting to slip away, especially considering that Echo's on the board.
I mean, MIBR knows a thing or two about late round executes, and they make it work, so they're prepared. I would have to imagine for OXG doing the same thing to them. 45 seconds left, 9 players still up in this lobby. That second floor control for Oxygen working out well. The hatch inside a freezer opened up. If it's a freezer drop like we see from so many teams, then they're going to have to fight back on the side of MIBR. But it could be quite tough. You have to clear out that spot. Nice shot from Kino. He's literally just dropping in and killing everybody in his path. He knows that there's somebody else playing by prep. Toxic canisters tossed out. Raps will vault on over. Kino, Foxe, and Yaga all taking damage in the process. Kino dropped. Foxe low. Laxing finished off. MIBR is cleaning up on this bomb site. With Foxe vulnerable for a moment or two. That leaves more on the shoulders of OXG, but they're not doing a good enough job. Foxe pops up. Raps is there. Shotgun blast. He takes out Falls. But Yaga now in a 1v2, and he's miles away from the diffuser. Yog Dog, you gotta run towards it, but he sees him. Look at this lineup. Philipbox on 1 HP. He's on top of the diffuser as well. Yaga saving the round at the moment. A bit of a repause for him. Philipbox is not viewable. You need to fight his foot, and you do it just in time. What an incredible performance by Yaga. And he saves it for his team. Again, back and forth they go. Tied up yet again.
And that is why you do the vertical, it's why you do the setup, it's why this stage 2 of a round, the setup before the execute is so important. When you plant on this bunker area like you just saw, if you haven't made the correct vertical holes, you cannot do this post plant from Yogg. That just speaks to the setup, the execution, the thought process that people and teams use a minute ahead of time, and it all plays out beautifully in perfection. You would be thinking when you saw Yogg on that balcony, as I did, oh boy, he's blundered it. He's in the wrong position, in the wrong location. He was in bakery earlier, miles away from the diffuser, but little do you know, the right holes were made, it supported the planned position, and Yogg, he made MIBR look like fools for a moment there. Got 2 easy pickups and got the round for his team. Tied up back once again, 4-4 as we're moving to a reading bomb site defense.
Well, what a strategical play there by Oxygen, and It certainly seemed like Yaga was miles away, but he had information that we didn't. There was a kill hole from above, expertly placed. So this just goes to show you the things that we don't get to see. The spectating in Rainbow Six is so hard because there can be a tiny kill hole that was set up a minute and 30 seconds before that you simply don't see, that is crucial for either a defender, if a defender posts up in that position, or for an attacker to be in that same spot in the post plant. Yaga knew something we didn't know. Yep. It sure seemed like he
got really lucky. It is
or
possible.
He got really lucky, but I believe the sledge was up there dealing damage, and that was premeditated.
It looks like it. I will say, benefit of the doubt, I do think that was intentional. It looked like it, because why else would you go to the balcony, right?
I mean, unless he wanted to sledge it, but it was already opened up. I don't know.
There's no time, right? Then you just lose some time because 7 seconds go by, defuse, help, blah, blah, blah. It's over.
Another opportunity for MIBR to go to kitchen, but they say no thank you. Every bomb site except for Cocktail on the top floor is open, so instead they're going to go to the reading bomb site down below. Yep. Mining has not shown up just yet for the Brazilian squad, but it can at some point. It was played once by OXG, and it was not won by the defense. There's a reason why it doesn't...
It was close.
It was close, but there's a reason why it doesn't tend to be the bomb site that teams like to go to.
Would you look at that? We see another IQ pick from Laxing, both teams equally respecting the fact that Valkyrie is so powerful on Kafe, and IQ has almost seen no play at the Invitationals yet. Valkyrie herself often banned out, but not this time around. Both operators are in action from both teams. Raps had a huge round on that basement defense. He managed to toss his toxic babes, stopping OXG from planting, stalling, buying time. It looked like he single-handedly had won the round, and he almost did. But close is not close enough. York now inside of Train will open up the soft wall. That could be the plan set up for OXG later in the round, so keep that in mind. Kino inside of 90 clears out the Banshee as well, so now it's crumbling for MIBR with a minute left. OXG really have a good position on the map.
And Kino knows where at least one of them is. Foxy's getting the diffuser down, by the way, a minute to go. He falls off as the gas gets baited out. OXG with that adrenal surge going as well. Give Foxy a little bit extra HP, but you don't want to huff in those gas fumes. So instead, Foxy will need to go somewhere else. He had the opening. A shotgun with Raps, but he gets swung on by Kino. Kino has heated up and is just killing everything that's walking in front of him. Nobody from MIBR is able to really challenge this. And after Felipox had such a strong start to the middle portion of this map, he has fallen off a little bit and allowed the rest of his team to take up land. Lucan is down for the count. Rayduct with the refrag. Felipox is gone. They can continue to trade, but every trade favors OXG, who now hold a 4v2. Rayduct above will need to get back to the bomb site as Foxy tries again to get the diffuser down. He was unsuccessful the first time, but nice drop from Rayduct, trapped inside a laundry, cleaning up at such close range, pivoting over, but Kino still stays alive. OXG will scramble to get the diffuser. They're going to need for the kills, but Falls is above, and Vertical now with the diffuser in hand means it's a 1v1. A drop here from Falls. He can take the engagement. They know exactly where he is, and MIBR will take their 5th round.
So, we had Falls being the savior of basement, almost, but Rayduct being the literal savior of reading. MIBR, they do not want out. We're trading rounds back and forth and back and forth. Now MIBR back in the lead, 5-4. That was a 2 versus 4 clutch. The plant position from Foxy was questionable at best. You're exposed to the laundry drop. That's exactly what happened. You became a freebie. You had no cover. You had no intel, and it showed. That is the punishment that MIBR needed to do, and they did it so well. We'll be working our way back to top floor. The round rotation for MIBR has been top floor, into kitchen, into reading, and then back up to top floor. They're now comfortable, although I will say that last time they went on this bomb site, it was OXG that came out the victor.
Wow, what an exhilarating round that was, Nick. The team's just back and forth, and Oregon was in many ways exciting, but it was defined more by how dominant each team was on their half. The first half, OXG was better. The second half, it really closed in on itself and tightened up. OXG still ended up coming out ahead. Bank was very one-sided. Other than the 3 rounds in a row that OXG took, MIBR looked formidable, and they just abused OXG all over the map. But here on Kafe, we have as close as is humanly possible to a matchup, and I am just strapped in for this thrill ride.
Absolutely. We'll see how OXG ends up playing it out. They've had very, very clear plans so far on all 3 maps. Started on Oregon, then we went to Bank, now we're on Kafe. It seems like OXG are much less, I would say, wild than I expected of them. I feel like in the NAL, they're usually this crazy team that runs around and they do different stuff every single time, but they've been extremely structured and very clearly playing for the plant. That's always their objective. They're rarely playing for kills intentionally. It has mixed results so far throughout this tournament. They've had 3 games before this one. They played Team 1, where they suffered a 1-2 loss. They played Kia, who, well, they got stomped. It was a 0-2 loss. Then they played Na'Vi in the very beginning of the first day, and Na'Vi, they fell extremely hard. OXG, they won 7-2 Bank, 7-1 Coast, and this time around, it's not that easy. You're down 1 round, but it's not too much. Redot down on 1 health as well to follow up. OXG have a good beginning, but they need a good end. MIBR, they are so good in the last 30 seconds. Are we punching?
I think that's just like, that's like anger management is all it is. You're just getting your frustration out. Fellapox punching away at that delivery door, and OXG just sitting there being like, is this guy for real? Are you really just going to do this? All right, I guess. I'll let you do that. Laxing was watching it and studying and being like, I don't know what this guy is doing. But if there was a run out on the rappel, then, hey, MIBR was in perfect position to do that. Yaga's very close to this player inside a bathroom, and it's Lukin. Had they droned him out, I'm not entirely certain. As critical as we can be of MIBR, it's OXG who sometimes have some stutters, but Kino finds 2 kills very quickly as he turns the tide. What is happening in this round? Fellapox almost runs up on Laxing, and then he almost misses him. What the hell are we witnessing? If I'm Twitch chat right now, I'm spamming question marks over and over and over again. Kino finished off. This has been one of the most puzzling rounds we have witnessed, and there are so many questions that I have. As everything settles down, though, OXG finds themselves with 3 players still upright. Falls is the last player from MIBR. It looked like MIBR would be able to stretch out and take match point, but that's not the case. They'll hunt him down as he's in back barb. The ult is a great weapon for taking multiple engagements, and he's got intel, softening them up in the process, slowly running out of ammo. 4 bullets, that's it, and he knows exactly where they are! No way, are you kidding me? What a clutch, one of the best that we've seen at this event, and it's MIBR on series point.
The last 20 seconds for MIBR is plot armor thick. They cannot lose the round no matter how much the odds are against them. Absolutely ridiculous. 3 rounds in a row. OXG, oh boy, it must be frustrating.
What do you even say at this point? OXG took their time out in round number 4. There's nothing they can do to try to calm their nerves. They knew exactly where the Maestro was, but they staggered in. The first player swings the doorway while the other 2 are in the middle of Cocktail. That's the bomb site, by the way. Foxe had the diffuser down. Why are you swinging? Go for the plant while they cover. If you know he's back there, there's only 2 doorways out. And yes, he can potentially rotate over by Lumber. Yes, he can potentially rotate out through Bathroom. But for God's sakes, you have the diffuser. Plant the diffuser. All of these teams tweeting about how they're beating ourselves. Yeah, you're goddamn right, you just beat yourself, OXG. Unbelievable, and MIBR pull off a great clutch based off of errors that are committed by OXG. And now MIBR sit on match point.
The mission was simple. The execution was rough. Really, really rough. When you play a 1v3, there are a ton of ways to go around it. I don't think sending one person, one by one, in that best of 3 against your opponent that has the all-that. Any other weapon on defense, you can likely argue that Redux or False rather would have lost the round. But the all-that, it has so many bullets. You can fight off 3 enemies at the same time if you need to. When you make it a 1 versus 1, it's just far too easy. OXG. Gotta now go all the way to OT. You gotta show you deserve this victory because it did not come free. It's been very hard for you so far. If there's ever was a time to show up, it is now. Kino, you've been so formidable, so good, finding opening kill after opening kill, granting space to your team, especially on the previous map of Bank. But it might not be enough, you might need more. OXG, somebody has to be the hero. MIBR, they've had almost every single player have the most. Lukid on Bank, multiple rounds. Redot right now, multiple rounds. Felipox, first map, top gunner. Raps, Falls, you name it, they're all doing the work.
Oh boy, what a heartbreaking round for OXG fans that is. And like we said, just a calamity of errors from these teams. We're going to go back and we're going to watch that last round an awful lot here. The good news is that these teams are just playing for seeding at this point. One team could potentially go to the upper bracket, one to the lower bracket. OXG are letting this match slip through their fingers.
But they might not know this. We got this information mid-cast. They might still be under the impression, most likely, that this is do or die. And Felipox, MIBR, they take down Kino, the most important key player from OXG. This is not boding well. They want this victory.
And that really does set the stage, Nick, doesn't it? With just past a minute to go. MIBR looking for the knockout punch here on Oxygen. One Brazilian team already going home from this group. MIBR want to ensure that there's more representation for them, that they make it to this upper bracket, and they are looking great to do so. OXG wanting to attack this kitchen bomb site. They're almost in, by the way. Fox8 can go for a plant, but there is just a ton of Molotovs shot out from the Shumika launcher of Falls. And there's lots of denial. There's still 10 remaining. Plenty of time to blanket wherever that default plant is going to go. He's playing over by Whiskey. One player we know from Oxygen is over by Delivery as well. It's a very calm match at the moment, despite the fact that Kino is down. OXG are freezing up inside of this freezer portion of the map. Fox8 edging out of the doorway. Diffuser going down. Finally, now the coverage is in, but swatted away by Rayduct. MIBR starting the comeback with the Diffuser down. They know exactly where it is. Felipox, one kill of his own. They'll collapse onto Fox8, and Laxing in a 1v5 for the win. MIBR on the Diffuser, and Laxing is gunned down. That'll do it, ladies and gentlemen. MIBR is triumphant. An impressive 3 rounds in a row to close out this match. And they'll take map number 3, as well as map number 2.
2 back-to-back, I will say. Demo in the talent room always speaks very highly of Falls. And I was thinking, sure, he's good, but how good is he? But Falls literally put MIBR in his backpack. Multiple rounds on Kafe. The Alda 1v3 clutch, absolutely unreal. Even though OXG, of course, were the team to make it possible in the first place. They did not go for the plant. They went for kills, but they did not do it together. MIBR, they conquer out on top as they take Kafe and they take the bank. They only lost on OXG's map pick of Oregon.
What an utterly phenomenal end to that map. Yeah, it wasn't clean. Yeah, it wasn't peak Siege, let's call it that. Perfect Siege is often unattainable for a lot of these teams, and for OXG, it slips through their fingers. The story for North America, before we came into this match, before a single round was played, every NA team, with the exception of one, has talked openly about how they start strong and then they fade, or they can't close out a series. Well, Oxygen put up a good effort, but they are exactly in the same spot as all those other teams. Now, the thing is that because of what's happening in the other match, which is going on right now, and if you want to go over to it, I'd recommend you go watch Damwon Kia versus Na'Vi. Oxygen and MIBR are both safe.
Yes.
So they're not exactly fighting for their lives, but MIBR just picked up some crucial points which can help them potentially make it out in the upper bracket. And for OXG, that is a problem.
It is. I mean, I have to question OXG, if you can't finish out rounds, or close them out rather, when you got the lead, when you're in a good position, that's not going to bode well going forward out of group stage. Once you're out of group stage, that means the weakest teams are eliminated. Every single opponent will only get stronger from there, and, well, if you can't win maps, you cannot win games. It's not good.
Once you get that close to the end, you gotta close it out. Always be closing. Don't forget your ABCs, folks. It's critical. But that's it for our second matchup. As I said, over on twitch.tv/Rainbow6Bravo, Damwon Kia and Na'Vi are still fighting one another. So if you want to watch more Rainbow Six, go over there. In the meantime, we're gonna have to throw to a break. We've still got 2 more best of 3s here on this stream. Sit tight or go over there and watch it. I don't care what you do, but have a lot of fun while you do it. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Good advice.